That's because we were like, it's the song of like leaving. As soon as you leave that old energy behind, all this beautiful new shit happens, right? And then that like envy and jealousy comes in from other people because energy has switched. It kind of just goes perfectly hand in hand with the energy here. It's beautiful because a lot of people are going to be freaking out even more because of the Capricorn energy. You know, we just had a full moon in Capricorn on June the 21st, and we're going to have another full moon in Capricorn on July 21st. And that is all about what dreams and aspirations and goals that you haven't finished yet, any projects that you put on the back burner, or any dreams, goals, or ambitions that you haven't done, you're going to get pushed to do. And you're really going to get pushed to rebuild the stabilization and the foundation within you is what they're saying here with this new moon energy coming in here. But it's also already kind of playing out because we've got the Saturn in retrograde already, Neptune in retrograde. So it's really squeezing you out of places and out of, you know, your familiar faces is what they're saying, as well as your foundational places. Okay, the foundations of what you think is going on versus what's really being molded and shaped together. Because it's like, as your viewpoint and your understanding flips and changes, you start out here with not having any relevance or any idea why you're doing what you're doing, and then picture and visualization starts to come in and get more narrowed and get more detailed as through the times that you go. A lot of people are feeling exhausted. Their bones might be feeling heavy. This is because of the density of energy that you have moved through etherically, but your body's now trying to catch up to, if that makes sense. So 3 days before the shift, Jay and I, we went through massive deja vu. We went through massive headaches. We went through our bodies feeling heavy, and like my rod in my knee was completely activated. So it was like it was in a place where it was a lot of dense energy that we were moving through. And through these times, I drink orange juice and maintain my balance as much as I possibly can in a physical space. But my body had already etherically made this shift to the new timeline where my physical body was trying to catch up. So my light body had already made that shift because of the frequency and the mindset and the energy that I was carrying at that time. But my physical body had to catch up to it. And so a lot of times right now, you're going through the process where your body is catching up to it. So a lot of people may be in that place of where they feel like they're going back and forth and they're trying to race things. Like they're racing against time to get things done and to get things complete. But all they're really doing is they're not even racing against time. They're racing against themselves. It's squeezing themselves out of these places and these frequencies in which they don't belong to. Right now, they're talking about the BIOS field. And very, very, very importantly, if you can get yourself some BIOS field jewelry, do so. We're talking about coppers, we're talking about hematite, and we're talking about black onyx, and most of all, we're talking about shungai. So if you can get your hands on pieces of jewelry that block those electromagnetic frequencies. Now, we have them all around us every day. The sun, it emits EMF, all right? Electromagnetic frequencies. We have those in our house, which are subject to change because we change, right? So those frequencies within our home that are all around us 24/7, okay, it doesn't have to be on. It could just be there, and that frequency is emitting. If you have things plugged into your wall, you're still using electricity even though it's not on. That's how they get you, because it's still emitting that EMF through the wall. So if you don't want your electricity bill, go around your house and unplug everything at night. I'm not kidding. It will actually change your electric bill by probably about 50 to 60 bucks, okay? Long story short, everything around you is emitting EMF. Those things that we have that are at the capable hands of our lives, this is when we really talk about grounding or earth grounding, where you turn off those devices. You know, it's actually recommended that 2 hours before you go to bed, you actually turn off all electromagnetic field devices and you go to bed. This is where you're learning to take better care of your body, your energy, your BIOS field energy. You're more aware of the things that are emitting through the air. And this is not conspiracy. This is proven fact that these frequencies can wreak havoc on our hormones, on the divine feminine energy of the womb, the reproductive systems, all of these different things in multitudes, okay? And so what they're asking you to do as the energy becomes more heightened and you move through more of these densities, they're asking you to get a hold of these types of stones that you can make jewelry out of, that you can wear, that you can purchase, that you can buy, okay, to help ground your energy in and keep your energy sacred to where you're not feeling all these things bumping against your biosphere and your hemisphere that's causing you disruption in your internal body, in your internal organism. Each one of you have over a multitude of atoms in your body. If all those atoms ignited and fused at one time, you would be considered a nuclear weapon because you could blow up the entire world. Thank God you don't know how to activate them all. And thank God they're not all getting fused at one time. But you are that makeup of energy. So people are getting down in detail to their foundation. And see, this is what Jay and I are completely changing our program into. I am a shamanic life coach, but we are going to teach people how to manage their lives, how to manage their energy, how to manage their abilities in a constructive way on all levels on a magnitude scale, because it's not just one thing. Everybody wants these abilities, but yet their life is unmanageable because their mind is unmanageable, their emotions are unmanageable. So how the hell are you going to manage your abilities when your emotions and your mind are unmanageable and you can't even manage your stabilities in your life? It doesn't work. You go into psychosis. This is also why we tell people you can't rush the healing process, because you naturally understand through the experiences that you have when you're supposed to understand, because that's when it was programmed in you to wake up at that moment and understand it, so that you didn't blow through yourself, so you didn't go into psychosis. It's all orchestrated and designed. It's all part of a very fine-tuned orchestration and plan. And for those of you that have the time, I would encourage you to go, if you have television, to watch the movie Ink on Roku. It will explain some of these things to you. Okay, so it's talking really about your energies, your densities. A lot of people are now really paying attention to the physics and the quantum energy here that's going on, that's affecting their bios field. And I'm not talking about wearing tinfoil hats and shit like that, okay? That doesn't do a goddamn anything, all right? A piece of amethyst and a piece of selenite will have a lot more work on bringing down the heat from your crown chakra, because you're overheated because you went out in the public and now you're carrying on all the 5G frequencies as well as everybody else's energies, and you can't fucking think which end is up or down. Your life is unmanageable because you don't know how to manage your abilities. That's what they have to say. So you're getting down and dirty into a more foundational, detailed way about taking care of your energy, about taking care of your spiritual healing. Because if you don't take care of your energy, you're not doing the planet or anybody else just cause. So a lot of people, this is what this Saturn and Neptune energy is. It's really honing in your foundations with your spirituality. Your spirituality is all over your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus. And if those things are completely out of whack, if you're not stable, if you don't feel at peace, and if you don't feel stable in your life and where you're at, your sacral is going to be out of whack. That sacral helps you create. That sacral helps you do those things that you are putting that love and that passion into. Your soul is that creativeness, that soul tie, that intuitiveness of the direction of what way to go and what you're doing. And if you can't get a hold of your upper chakras, you're not going to be able to get a hold of your lower chakras, but you got to get a hold of your lower chakras first. And it's not a joke, and it's not that anybody is taking it as a joke, but people don't understand how to keep the momentum going in their program. And they fall off. We all do. Because when we're moving from a dense into more of a light, we've got the strong and we've got the weak. So let's say I'm starting to speak more compassionately to myself. Well, that is a learned trait. So I'm going to have to unlearn that trait. That's going to take time and reprogramming. So I may be moving into a lighter energy, but my signal is weak. What that means is I'm going to fuck up a few times. I'll give you an example. For a long time, I would run around here and I'd drop a pen and be like, oh, my life. Knock over a glass, all my life. I didn't even realize what was just naturally coming out of my mouth. Well, guess what I was doing? I was my life. To myself, by the things that I was speaking, right? So Jay was like, hey, you think you can stop saying that for a minute and see what happens? Well, the first day I totally messed up. I think I bit my tongue like twice the second day. And then the third day, I caught myself before I even said it. After about a week of practicing this awareness and practicing this repetition, it naturally changed. I don't say it anymore. It's not my vocabulary. But my signal was weak, moving into a lighter energy until it came above that line and got really strong and moved into that lighter energy. So that's what they're showing me is going on through the collective. You're moving through these timelines, through these denser, heavier layers into more lighter layers in vibration, but your signal is weak. That's because you've rested on your laurels. That's because you don't have a foundational program in your life teaching you how to employ these things on a consistent basis. It's like, you know, when you go to the gym and you have a goal where you hit that goal or you're halfway through the goal and you give up because you're bored. How many of you give up because you're bored? You go, I don't want to anymore. No, it's because you're bored. It's not that you don't want to. It's just that you're not being challenged in any way. Y'all think you survived it this long by going, I don't want to. No, it doesn't work like that. You got bored until something else made you work more or work harder or captivated your attention in another way. Okay? So this is the deeper here insinuation of really captivating you and changing your programming, the hangman perspective, into something new. I had a beautiful young lady that I got to speak with on a consultation the other day. And she goes, I used to love interior design and it's all I did. And I was at the top of the top and now I'm, doing this spiritual stuff. And she's like, I'm just bored. And I said, what if you looked at interior design and that type of energy in a different way? What if you mixed the energy of what you know in the body and the mind and the confinements of the home with the energy of interior design, moving in a feng shui place so the energy is clear and at peace? Why don't you interpret the two things that you do? Like, you can make a spiritual business out of that and you can really cultivate that to people who have no recollection about energy or design. Mix the two, you got a fucking gold mine. You need a business idea? Come to me. I'm a Taurus. I'll tell you all of them, all right? But literally, you could literally make money off of that, like 1,000,003. Why? Because people want interior design, but they want boho, they want chic, they want modern, right? Well, why not make it about spirituality and feng shui and the energy of the home and how it vibes and how it goes? That's a fucking gold mine, right? So it's about intertwining those foundations in those places and those spaces. And it's coming to from a broad view into more of a detailed skew and view of what you're about and what you're doing and how to get to that place that you're wanting to get or do or be. The reason that those thoughts become beliefs to you is because they've become a repetitive program in you. So you have to untrain the beliefs and the limitations that you have placed on you to think that you can't do it. And one of the biggest messages right now that I've been receiving over the past couple of days for even my mentees that I've gotten to see has been, right now, you're thinking your way out of something because you don't think you can do it. It doesn't look like you can do it. Well, guess what? You're not doing it. God is. So move the fuck out of the way and do it anyway and allow God to do what God does.
It's true. I mean, basically what, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to everything you said, and one of the things that literally kind of like stuck out to me first and foremost is about learning how to work with the lower chakras.
It wasn't me saying it.
Because a lot of people, believe it or not, hey, that's inspiration, bro. That's motivation. Don't kill it. Don't kill me. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally working with the open chakra, the lower chakras is something that's very important because it gives you the state of observance that you need to be able to observe the information that you receive from the upper chakras. You know what I'm saying? And the heart is the bridge to all those things. So you have to understand that you also have to keep an open heart with an open mind to what it is that you're able to perceive, or what it is that you doubt about yourself, or what it is that you think is kind of like holding you back, keeping you stuck, unnecessarily safe, and all those things are usually associated with some type of instability, a lack of groundedness, a lack of awareness within oneself, a lack of alignment, or the knowing of what it is to be in an alignment with oneself. You know, and that's really important. And that's one of the things that we push big time in the mentorship space is it's all about that breath and understanding that that is the first step to silence. That is the first step to stillness. That is the first step to awareness, that you become more observant and more aware of your state of being in those moments that you're actually showing yourself gratitude. Because pranayama is the breath, it's the air that we breathe, it's life force energy. And when we actually pay attention to our breath, we're showing a form of gratitude and self-love and respect that we don't realize is happening simultaneously. And that's why the breath is so powerful when it comes to learning how to engage in what it is to be peaceful. You know what I'm saying? It's not about quieting the mind. It's not the goal. When you become the observer, you realize that you're not the thoughts that you think, because all you're doing is focusing on breathing, and this little pre-recorded message in the background is going, what are we doing? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And that's the clearest first signal that that's not you, that you're not the thoughts that you think. You know what I'm saying? And then when you actually have the ability to kind of observe the fact that you're thinking without even intentionally doing it, then you realize that you are the awareness of the thoughts that you think, you know? And that's where the true power really, really fucking begins, because you realize it's like, wait a minute. So my mind doesn't have power over me. This is an illusion. And boom, all of a sudden you're on another level, wondering what the hell is going on. And some of the things that we, like, I want to retouch on this, that when we achieve a new level, or we realize something, when we learn something and close that cycle, boom, you're on another cycle. It can make you feel infantile. It can make you feel afraid, like you're vulnerable, like you're overly sensitive, you know, that your eyes are being peeled, maybe even light is hard to look at. You know what I'm saying? You might be having sensations in your stomach. Your guts are fucking moving around. You might have a fucking heavy weightedness off. You know, it's because that level of ascension, and this all has to do with cellular structure and energetic density, because it's one and the same. Just like she was saying that the atom, they split one atom and look at all the chaos it creates. But nobody ever thinks about the goodness that it creates when we actually embrace the atomic structure of ourselves and the energy and the awareness and the consciousness that is associated with the energy that we is. So basically, you have more power than 10 million nuclear bombs inside of you that has the ability to create something phenomenal, right? And if you don't believe that, look at the universe. Look what God created. Look what the Creator did. Look what Great Spirit did. Look what Source did. It doesn't matter. Whichever way you look at it, you also know that you are almost a carbon copy, if not a copy of something that is so beautiful and so profound that every time you look around, you realize that that's a piece of you. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of like that we're switching and we're restructuring and we're transitioning and we're letting go of these energetically dense, porous, you know, very sad things about our lives and about our thoughts and about what the things that we pay attention to, not realizing that we're naturally compelled to do this because it's our cells, it's our energy that is adapting and listening and constantly aware of what's going on in our surroundings, right? It's the last one to get the message or fucking sign on the dotted check is usually the mind, which you are not. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that there's a sort of self-control and a sense of self-worth that is understood almost immediately as you continue to practice this awareness, enlightening yourself, enlightening the chakras, brightening yourself, allowing the light to come in instead of consistently pouring out on things, only perpetuating those cycles over and over and over again because you haven't figured out what God's message was inside of it, what Spirit was trying to tell you, what you're being led to do, what are your goals, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody's being moved exactly to where they need to be, to see what they need to see, to be what they need to be, and then to move on from that and start it all over again and kind of like erase those things that are holding you back and starting anew, starting abroad, regenerating your cellular structure. A lot of people have been having heat sensations, burning, swelling. It feels like they're bloated and you know what I'm saying? Or their headaches or their head is heavy and stuff like that. And that's basically Spirit's way or God's way or Source's or Creator's way of saying, hey, pay attention to the body because we're talking to you right now. And I believe that this is first and foremost the most important thing or imperative thing that you need to do right now before you make that decision, before you make that move, before you decide to walk out that door. And that's the intuitive awareness that is literally coming through when we understand the meaning of groundedness.
And the meaning of the breath, because at that moment when you get hit and your thoughts are all over the place. See, we asked a mentee the other night, we said, okay, what does that peace look like? How do you practice that? So how do you practice that in your daily life? How do you get to that, you know? And at first they couldn't explain that. And it's like, okay, wait, hold on. Because when something comes up in your daily life, then how do you react? That's the piece of the groundedness that you're supposed to be at. So what we mean by that is that emotion or that thought that you're having when that feeling comes in is distorting your energy, which is not able to let you see what direction you're being pulled in to go in. So this is why we say discern with everything. So you stop, you pause. The only way to feel nothingness is to go back to the breath of centeredness, 0 point. 0 point gravity state is what they call it in quantum healing, or the emotional state is what they call it in shamanic healing, the emotional centered state. And the only way to do that is through the breath, being aware of your breath. And one way that I teach that is not only through breathing in, putting a count on that breath, but also feeling that breath with your finger actually exhale at that moment. It brings you to pure presentness in that very moment. Then you can see what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and discern from that space. Is this what I'm supposed to do? Or is this what I'm supposed to do? But you're not going to figure it out because you can't see through it because it's all cloudy because your vision is blurred by the emotion and the thought that's triggered you to have that reactive response. So when something happens to you that infracts on your being or your sovereignty, even if it's you, okay, it's a thought that you have. Whether it be a thought about rejection, whether it be a thought about being jealous, whether it be a thought about anything. You have to sit with that for a moment and be aware enough to say, what was that? I'm feeling this. I don't need to feel that right now. Let's bypass the feeling, which I always say says, F your feelings. Because at that point, F your feelings. Your feelings are lying to you. It's not getting to the root cause.
Your feelings aren't facts, they're food.
And so at that moment, I may be feeling a certain type of way, but that's not the fact of what it's going down. It's a subconscious programming from a different time and a different space that's coming up in me that is reacting at first. But the more spiritual, aware version of me knows not to react in that space and go, sometimes that means I have to bite my tongue. Sometimes that means I go, hey, I need 5 minutes. This morning, a mentee needed my time and my attention, but I didn't know how important it was. So I told Jay, I said, hey, Jay, this is what's going on. Give me a minute. I sat for 2 minutes and I'm like, okay, am I supposed to do this or is this something they need to work on their own? What do I do in this situation? And they go, call. And so I'm like, call, cool, I call. And it was exactly what was needed. And then I got to see that, right? But that's the decisiveness. I don't do anything without pause or without pause. Anything that comes into my camp that brings me anxiety, that brings me distortion, that brings me confusion, that brings me unrest or unease is not coming from the Creator. It's a disease. So I need to sit with my place and sit with my face to see what's going on truly, to see between the vase is what they're saying. So that's between the veils, between the vases, you know? And so that's where you're going to see what is real and what that opportunity is and what that is that's trying to prevail in your life. But people forgot how to discern, and we got told that our feelings are absolutely everything. This is why we give out trophies now for nothing. Okay? It's because of the fact is that they put our emotions so incredibly at play to overdrive and hyperextend and hyperfeed our emotions. Now we're learning how to use that for our betterment and our discernment to teach us what it is. See, they didn't realize that by messing with our words and messing with our emotions and messing with our thoughts and reprogramming us was actually going to teach us what not to do. So now you're working backwards to master yourself and master your energy without clause is what they're saying here. So without any type of rule or law or regulation, how you get to that place and how you get to that space of that awakening process to where you are in full attunement and full alignment is different for everybody, based upon the individual, based upon their track record, based upon what they need, based upon their lineage, based upon their practice, based upon how they see, how they hear, how they feel. Everyone is not on the same level. I don't care what they tell you. It's a fallacy. They want to hand everybody a fucking trophy. But if everybody was doing it, then they would be up here just like me. Mm-hmm. There isn't another one me. There isn't not another one that has experienced everything I have experienced in this lifetime, this way, with this footprint, with that footprint. Not one of anybody. That's the uniqueness that I carry. My job is to then do what I do with it. What do I use it for? That's the ability that you have. That's the uniqueness that you put on it. That's your flavor. That's the new flavor. All right? It's like you knowing that you're on a new level, but what do you do with it? How do you use it? So that's really where a lot of people are at right now. They're like, oh yeah, great, my abilities, my abilities. You don't know how to manage them. That's why your life is unmanageable. Your mind is unmanageable. Your emotions are unmanageable. And if you have questioning in that I'm telling you something that is not real or true, look around your house and tell me all the clutter and all the dirt that you see and all the shit that is still there from 10 years that you haven't thrown away yet. Your home is a direct reflection of your energy. How much trash, how much mail, how much paperwork, how unorganized is your home? That will tell me everything about your mindset and your emotional mindset and your reflection of energy within you. Not playing. It's a direct reflection of your energy. Do you have shit scattered everywhere? Is it unorganized? Do you got piles and piles of laundry? Do you got boxes and papers and shit that you've had forever that you don't need? Guess what? That's the same thing as in your Rolodex. You got programming and old shit that you don't need no more. So go through the process and clear it the fuck out.
You gotta see how you're the battery to your physical reality is what I heard in my head, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We have to see how physical manifestation is a thing, and it's based on our energy. Mm-hmm. And one of the easiest ways to kind of like look around your house. Look around the feng shui of your house, the chi of your house. Mm-hmm. And that is a manifestation of the things that are actually going on in your mind and the way you think. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, you know, I can hear a lot of people rearranging is in order. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's cleanup time, whichever way you want to look at it.
I've got some things to do too. You know, like we just got the garden and the plants straight. You know, we're getting ready to move and shake and rattle and rumble too. I've got things and boxes in the basement that I'm getting ready to haul and throw out too. It's... everything that I do, it's because of the fact I don't say this stuff because I haven't done it. If I haven't done it and I haven't experienced and I haven't lived it, I can't teach it. I'd be a hypocrite. So therefore, one way that I know that I can speak it is because I've seen it within my own life and I'm at the end of that cause, that clause. Right? Because it's been about a year process of fucking getting rid of tons of shit. Tons, right? People, places, things, paper, a whole bunch of stuff. What works? What doesn't? What doesn't fit? It's been a whole entire year of that. This is now just the revamping. Like, you know how when you completely like pull everything in your house and you clean every nook and you clean every cranny and everything's a fucking mess everywhere and then you put it all back and it's all nice and clean? This is the putting it all back and it's all nice and clean. So this is the unorthodox, unorganized process. And when it doesn't look like something, that's exactly when it is something. I hope that makes sense to you. I hope that makes sense to you because it's a little ass backwards and they talk really ass backwards sometimes in metaphors, spiritually speaking. So what that means here in that process, yeah, what were you thinking? What that means, one of the other guys was like, what were you thinking? what that means in that process there is that when you think you shouldn't do it, or when you feel resistance to doing it, it means you should do it. None of you ever said, I don't want to, because you didn't want to. It's because you were bored with it. So change it up and make it unboring. You're the only one that can. This is why we teach people to play games with spirit. Like, it's totally like fucking Peter Pan and the shadow on the wall and all of that, because it entrains your abilities. But also at the same time, you get the deeper that connection and that foundation with you, your body, your discernment. I go into places all the time and I tell the doctor what's wrong with me, and they think that I don't know because they don't think I'm in tune with my body. And I'm like, listen, there's nothing wrong with me. It's X, Y, and Z. And they run every fucking thing. And I'm like, I just can't wait to prove this motherfucker wrong too. I'm just one of those weird crayon colors in the box that you don't always see in like that 98 special, you know? And he's like, there is nothing wrong with you. And I'm like, that's what I don't hear. I know me. I know my body. I know my connection, and I know my team. This is why I say, if you're not my belly button, you can't tell me nothing. Because it's that foundationally within my roots, within my understanding, within myself, teaching myself and my team my abilities. See, I've known all these things and studied all these things for a very long time, but I'm getting the certifications behind them now, so that with where they're headed, people know that I'm not just pulling shit out of my ass. But it's a fly-by experience, because a lot of these things, it's already been known for me for over 23 years. So it's a very fly-by process, but I have the integrity to have the paperwork behind the certifications, because I like to see YOA. You know, and it's very important in the foundation and in the structure for people to understand that and know that, right? So when you go through these processes, you're like, oh, that's why I did that. Oh, that's why I did that. Oh, that's why I did that. Holy shit, I had no idea I was doing that. I'm going to be quiet now, because I know that there's some people that would like some readings. They're going to be quiet now, because I don't even know that they know what they're saying at this point in time. There's 3 of them back there that are like... So this must be a little bit of a new, young kind of like... There must be some people in the room that have some new young teams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because it's
actually,
young
it's
energy.
kind of like, it's fresh energy.
It
It's
is
beautiful, man.
It's not my team, because it's not. These are not energies that I commune with on a regular basis. So whoever I'm hearing, it belongs to you guys. Mm-hmm. And they're a very fun, like, you know, like Goonies type of energy. They're like, yeah, you know, like that high five.
Like that.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. You know, it's a very young, very playful energy. It's, you know, yeah, we got it right, you know, type of thing. It's like that teenager energy. So what that tells me is that you're very new in the process of really learning about you. And I don't mean new in a disrespectful way. I mean it in a remembering the pieces and parts of you, of the imprints that you carry from a lifetime or two into this process, you know, that are soon going to merge and marry with the human existence of your reality. So you're molding and shaping and merging more of those abilities, those gifts, that discernment, that detailed, you know, compartment and foundation of you, so that you are in trainment, is what they're saying, to that 0 point state. Okay.
I agree, dude. You know, it's kind of like the cardinal rules, like the simple rules. It's like, number 1, you're a spirit in a body. Okay? and let that soak in for a minute. You know what I'm saying? You're a spirit in a body. You know? Mm-hmm. You're a spirit having a human experience. So what is it that the eternal being is taking personal? Right. And why are you over evaluating that? You know what I'm saying? So like literally, you know, it's all about simplifying the complex here, fam. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to brainwash you or anything, but it's kind of like a lot of people kind of like go about their human business on a daily, you know, not thinking about the fact that they're this. You know what I'm saying? And that's that identity crisis that a lot of people don't realize that they're suffering from in one way or another. And that's why you feel the way you do, because it's not authentic to you. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things that make you feel uncomfortable, that make you feel like you know, that like you're not enough, or you're doubting yourself, or you're questioning yourself, or you're excessively doing things, or you're just kind of like being compulsive or intense and you know, consistently intense in some type of stress state, because what the body's actually asking you to do is to pay attention to what's going on inside of you, because that's what's guiding you.